Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're super happy to be talking about this topic specifically with Coach Nigora. Coach Nigora is a health coach, and she's also an author of 2 books. And we're going to be speaking to her in a moment. And just before we do so, note that this session, we're going to be discussing the limiting beliefs and how you can discover what are the limiting beliefs that are stopping you from reaching your goals and how you can move forward in your life, achieving your goals, understanding the limiting beliefs, throwing them out, changing them, putting a belief that you want to believe in, and then moving ahead in your life. So, Coach Nagor, first of all, thank you so much. I'm super happy to have you here with us today. And I'm happy for everyone who is joining us today to get to know you better. And can you tell us more about your story and what's your main passions? What is your main purpose?
Thank you, Fatima. So lovely to be here. So I'm 31 years old. So 6 years ago, when I was 25, I hit a big wall, a size of a China wall. And it was quite debilitating situation in life. I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know what to look forward to. My health was not good. I had constant pain in my tummy. Doctors weren't really diagnosing anything. Everything was fine, and I was losing a lot of weight, and I was just let's say it lightly depressed. Just kind of a little bit miserable, because depression is quite a strong word, right? So and then I came across a diary that I had when I was 19, 20, 21. And it was not a diary, it was a sketchbook. It was a sketchbook of my dreams that I was drawing when I was 19, 20, 21 years old. And at the age of 25, I'm looking at this sketchbook full of so much courage and ideas and creativity, and I'm so many different industries that I was involved in the sketchbook, right? And I was like, wow, who is this person? Who was this person believing in herself so much, And now I'm stuck in my bedroom, on my bed. I quit my job. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know where I'm heading. And I felt such disconnect with that person from 6 years ago. So I closed the book and I was like, right, now is the time. And it was kind of a godsend to look at that sketchbook, because I had to pack. We were moving houses. So, I didn't even open this book for so many years. So so I closed the book and I said to myself, I have to act now. I want to be that person again. I want to be that courageous girl that has no limits. And I came out of the relationship that I was in then. I opened up to a friend, asked for help, right? And she offered me a job in this company. And then I went to get help from a kind of naturopath / nutritionist. And then when I started feeling better in my body, right? So I healed my tummy ache, I healed my energy, I started gaining more weight, my skin was improving, and all that through diet, as well as, this kind of giving myself courage and sort of believe in myself. I was like, whoa, this is like science breaking, that diet affects my mood, my energy, the way I talk, the way I think, the way I'm creating. I was like, hold on, I need to look into this, I need to study this, and I want to share this with the world. So this is how it came about, that I came across my course that I did, the health coaching course with IN, Institute of Integrative Nutrition. I signed up almost immediately. And almost immediately I started coaching. Within like 3 months of studying, didn't even graduate yet, I was already coaching for free. I was grabbing colleagues at my company and be like, come sit down, tell me your health problem, tell me what are you experiencing, I'll give you an advice. Like, I was prescribing smoothies, I was prescribing water, all these things. Yeah, and then since then life changed dramatically, dramatically. And as a coach, I believe that the difference, many might of you will be wondering, what's the difference between a life coach and a health coach? There's a big difference, right? A health coach works a lot on how you feed your physical entity, right? So, for example, let's say I'm a life coach and I'm coaching you, Fatma, and I'm like, yeah, I'm helping you with your issue or whatever. And then after our session, you go and have McDonald's, or you go and late binge at night, late eating, or you will drink coffee all day, right? So that is not serving the purpose, right? So health coaching is step number one in attending to wellness, emotional and physical being, right? So because food is everything, um, it's not 100%, right? It's not 100% of the equation. It's a good 50%, but that's the first thing that you attend to, right? So first you strengthen that foundation, which is your body, um, and then so I always say, when you build a house, you first build a foundation, right? And then after the foundation, you're building the house. Without the foundation, the house will fall apart. So how can you build your confidence? How can you build your emotional strength? How can you build your resistance to stress if you are suffering from headaches, if you're suffering from fatigue, if you're suffering from IBS, if you're suffering from diabetes, right? So that's the foundation. So first we fix that, or we improve that, and then we go on and develop these limiting beliefs. Sorry, that was, I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, I know you did. I mean, your story says a lot about a lot of people who are going through similar things at that stage of their life. Because
Yeah,
I'm 26 years old, and initially, like early 20s, I went through different periods of times. I was working for first financial industry, and then I moved, and in between that, my health was suffering, you know.
yeah,
And when I was telling people about my health problems, they're like, you're young, you shouldn't be having these things. Like, yeah, well, this is what I'm experiencing. And I noticed that when like we're all put in a stressful situation, when we don't have the correct ingredients that are helping us nourish ourselves, then that becomes difficult for us to become the best versions of ourselves.
exactly.
So this is what I noticed for my own self. Like I had a health coach since I was, I think, 21 or 22. I
Yeah,
got to meet this health coach who went shopping with me in the grocery, and she was telling me what foods to choose, which ones are good for you, and all these things. So I developed that kind of awareness. But then, you know, I went back to eating whatever is cooked at home, and then I felt good for a while. But then, as you mentioned, so for us to really look into ourselves and understand what is happening in us, to really, you know, pursue a life that is worth living for us. I believe that our bodies are capable of making our life the best life ever possible
yeah,
when we know what is happening inside with the food we take. And not only that, the thoughts, the beliefs, the people we surround ourselves with, the environment, everything that we do affects us in a certain way.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, talking about this specifically, I wanted to ask you, what would be like a process to uncover limiting beliefs, and what is the best? Yani, let's break down the concept of limiting belief. Say, for example, a client comes to you and they want to reach this target, whatever target they have for themselves. What would be the first step?
Right. So before you jump to that, could I take a step back and explain to all of everybody that will be watching this video that um, limiting beliefs, negative thoughts, negative beliefs, they all have an impact on the physical body, right? But specific limiting beliefs have specific impact on a specific organ tissue. So, so because we have so many like organs, right? So each organ has its own um, has its own conflict themes. So for example, thyroid, if you get diagnosed with like hypothyroidism, right? So underreactive thyroid, that's something to do with powerlessness, right?
Yeah.
Scared of getting rid of some issue. So that's something that in your life you had an issue where you couldn't really face that person or that work event that was constantly beating you down, and then you develop the thyroid, right? So every organ tissue has an impact from your limiting belief. So you know how I said diet is important, lifestyle is important? Yes, it is. It is 50% of the work. The other 50% is, you know, the thoughts that you nourish your body and mind with. And let's say, as you asked, if someone comes and they ask me, oh, I have this, well, first of all, a lot of people don't know they have limiting beliefs. They just have beliefs. They don't even know that they're limiting them. They don't even know that that's a negative thought, because people are so used to being negative, because it's a lot easier to be negative than positive. Positivity takes courage, takes faith, takes commitment, takes strength. It's a lot harder than just victimizing and believing negative, self-doubting, and, you know, it's self-devaluating. So I, because I'm not a life coach, nobody really comes to me with a question, oh, Nigora, I don't think I'm good enough. How can you help me? They don't come with that. They come to me with, oh, I have tummy, like I have digestive issues, or I have chronic fatigue, or I have, and through these symptoms, I can figure out their limiting beliefs, right? So when I tap into that, they're like, oh yeah, actually, yeah, I feel that too. And I'm like, okay, write a list of everything negative that you feel first about yourself. So they would write me a huge list, right? And the first one being that I don't deserve happiness, right? Second one common being that I'm just not good enough. You know, like I will never succeed, right? Or I will never be a good mom. I'm so weak. Whatever I start, I fail. This is a very common one, right? So what's the point of starting like a project or whatever? So you write them all out, and then you dissect each one of them. So let's take the first one as whatever I start, I fail. So let's take that one. Um, so there's a you know, a few methods to it, but we'll pick one, and you would ask yourself, is this true? Is this true? This glass is empty. Is this true? Yes. Is this true that whatever you start, you fail? No, it's not a fact. It's an illusion. It's a belief you decided to believe in. Now, when did you decide to believe that? When, right? So you go back to, you know, whenever that first thought came about. Maybe you were a teenager, or even younger, below 10, or maybe, you know, at some age, you decided. And when I tell them that you decide to believe that, right, you made it true. You, not even true, you made this your reality. So when you give them this, when you empower them with the fact that actually you believe this, so why don't you not believe it? So then the first, is it true? No, it's not true. How does this negative belief of whatever I start, I fail, affect your thought, behavior, actions, mood, whatever you say? How does that thought affect you in all these angles? Of course, negative. I'm scared to start anything. I doubt myself. I'm scared to go speak out, get help, blah, 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 right? So it's very restricting. So you make them realize that, right? So is that serving you? No, it's not serving you. Okay. What would you rather believe? Who would you be without that thought? And then suddenly the eyes, spark up. They're like, oh, I would be so confident and I would start projects and da da da. Okay, so what would you rather believe in? I would rather believe that I'm courageous enough to start a project I want to start. Great. So, so what I do is you loosen up that belief that it's not even real. It's an illusion, as rightly wrote in that title. It's an illusion. It's a fake fact that you decided to adopt.
Definitely, I would agree. And when you start to uncover these beliefs that are limiting, in fact, you then understand the reasons you stopped to do certain amount of things, the reasons you became a different version of yourself. Like as you said in the beginning, when you looked at the diary of this 19 or 20-year-old self, who was that person who was,
Yeah,
who dared to even write these things and these
yeah,
ideas? And that is all us. Yani we are different parts of ourselves. There are things that are uh, taking over us, like in the subconscious mind, some ideas overcome us. And a lot of people become different people at different stages of their lives. And unless they look at themselves in the mirror, perhaps, or really at their what they've gone through and what they've done so far, and really look at the quality of the things that they're experiencing. Say, for
yeah,
example, the reason I was talking to you the other day about my sleeping thing, right? That I'm super excited over the day. It's like it's a bit difficult for me to sleep, and that's for me. I value sleep a lot, and not being able to sleep is not allowing me to be the at full capacity. Say, I would say the next day. And understanding what is causing this, removing certain things, really makes a change. And let me tell you, I've been sleeping so good the past 2 days after I
really?
removed.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, that's amazing.
yeah. So thankfully, I just changed one thing, and then I decided to go on a meal plan, and I decided to do a lot of other things as
Amazing,
well.
yeah.
So I
It's
mean,
all
as
interconnected. It's
definitely.
Yeah.
And the next question would be like these limiting beliefs, as you rightly mentioned, where do they usually show up? Like, say, for example, if I'm a person, I say that I like my job, but I'm not being there early. So I don't reach early, like the timing and all these things. So, what would be the limiting belief here?
That you can't wake up early enough, or you right. So I mean,
Exactly.
where do they show up? They show up everywhere. Everywhere. If you were just a little bit more conscious of the thoughts in your head on a minutely basis, you would notice how negatively one can talk to yourself, right? They show up everywhere. They show up in your work, they show up in your relationships, they show up even in some people and how they eat, how they nourish themselves, how they exercise, if they exercise at all, right? So it's like, oh, I'm overweight already. What's the point of, trying to lose weight? Right? A lot of clients to me say, oh, I don't think I will ever reach below 70 kilos. Limiting belief. Hello. No, you will never reach below 70 because this is what you're telling yourself. Right? So if you just notice, and some people don't notice them at all, they're there all the time. They show up all the time. So what we would need to do is one, become aware, very aware how you talk about yourself. Um, and two, try to spin it, right? Try to spin it. Oh, I will be able to do it. It'll take practice, but I will be able to do it. I need a little bit more discipline to get below the 70 kilos. It's something a little bit more positive, because the way we talk to ourselves is it's quite harsh. It's very dictator like, and it's not very nice. So if we were a little kinder to each other, to oneself, we would we would be a lot more comfortable, and we would have a lot more faith in ourselves, in the body and all. Because also, if we go back to talking about limiting beliefs, they also cause stress, right? A lot of stress. And life is already pretty stressful, can be work, can be stressful. Stress, the word stress, we need to look at it as our buddy. It will always be there, always, no matter what element of life, whether it's kids, school, relationship, work, whatever. But what doesn't have to enhance the stress is your mind, right? Is how you look at it, how you react to it, how you perceive it, and your health. Your health can be pretty strong and stable, and at least that will give you that confidence to say, well, no matter the stress, I'm healthy, I'm strong, and I can deal with it all. Right? Not many people can say that.
Yes, 100%. I mean, I was just reading about our intuition and how our bodies don't lie, because the way we're made up, there are so many things within us that tells us certain stuff. I don't know if you guys heard about muscle testing and all these things, but also your intuition. Like you would feel, I just read this simple thing. It's basically positive thoughts lead to positive feelings, and then negative thoughts and, say for example, behaviors or whatever leads to negative feelings. So if you're experiencing a negative feeling in your day, just ask yourself, how did this come about? Where did it start? Is that true? What can I change? Like, because our thoughts, some of the time they're racing thoughts. Some of the times there are no thoughts, but there are memories and there are other stuff happening. But if you really ask yourself, is this true? When did it start? Who said it? Did I say it? Like, just keep questioning your thoughts. This is one thing I do on a daily basis, and this makes me become an observer of my thoughts rather than engaged with them and manifesting them and all these things. And my one of the questions here, Coach Nagora, is basically, you mentioned our health. Now these thoughts definitely they affect our health, and for us to, say for example, achieve the best healthy lifestyle for us, how do we go about it given all these situations and things that are happening around us?
Um, Well, first of all, you would need to really attend to your physical body, right? So if you're overweight, lose weight. If you go to bed late, go in proper time. If you don't exercise, exercise. If you breathe shallow, breathe deep. Eat more vegetables, eat more fruits, eat more complex carbs, right? So like that's the foundation, right? Going back to where I started. So this will contribute to the puzzle of wellness, of feeling good consistently, right? So that's step one. And then the other step would be to constantly, yes, as you said, questioning those negative thoughts, but I would even take it a step further. I would say on a daily basis, upgrade your brain. This is very important because a lot of us sometimes live with the same pattern that we developed when we were 7 years old or 10 or 15 or whatever. We cannot live a life when I'm 35 and think the way I thought subconsciously when something happened when I was 5. Right? So every day, and thoughts, negative thoughts are like patterns, they're habits, right? So I once had a client who was very insecure about her body image, extremely. She had stretch marks, and she was, every time, if you would look at her in a slight different way, she would think you're judging her, right? So it was very, very tough for her. And this all started when she was 8 years old, and her dad kind of comment unconsciously that, oh, you have stretch marks. That's, you're kind of young for that, right? That thought sat in her head until she's 37. And until today, she feels like somebody's always remarking on her body image, right? But you can't, because you're already at that age. You're not 8 years old. You can't stand up for yourself. You can't comment, and it doesn't matter. You can improve that. So what I'm saying is that upgrading your brain is very important. And there's a beautiful phrase that I like to use: mind is faster than God. as you know, the racing thoughts, right? They can really get you to spiral down that negative path, right? So take control of it, right? Slow it down and upgrade the brain on a daily basis and keep your frequency up. What does that mean? How do you keep your frequency up? For me personally, as Nigora, I feel that I keep my vibrations, my frequency high when I eat a plant-based diet. I'm vegetarian, right? So already I am a little bit higher than if I were eating animal products, right? So my frequency is already a little higher. When I meditate, when I do yoga, my frequency goes up again, right? So how can you, and that's a task for you, how can you keep your vibrations higher? And what lowers your vibration during the day, right? Someone said something, you said something, you judged, you got criticized, you know, these things. So road rage, that lowers your vibration, right? So how can you, with little things, how can you keep it up? You know, that's also quite important. Obviously food is a big contributor to the frequency of our body and thoughts.
Definitely, yes. And when you said raising your vibrations, last week I had a session about how to raise your vibrations, but that was in Arabic. So I'm going to perhaps do it in English as well. So sometimes, you know, throughout the day, no one can be 100% always happy, and no one can be 100% always sad if they, unless they choose that.
Yeah.
Now we move through different patterns of energy and different patterns of reactions, the way we react to things. And to keep keeping your energy at a higher level than usual really helps you to you know, flip that situation to your favor, or to the favor of everyone, instead of, you know, having one losing side or the other. And I learned this because when you really look at the things from another perspective, not only from my perspective, oh, this is happening to me, that's the victimhood perspective that we spoke about earlier, that things are happening to them, and, you know, they cannot control this belief or that belief. That's limiting, and that's really putting the power in that belief that is not true, that is, you know, illusory. And then when you really notice how in your day some certain activities are going to put you in a very good mood, in a very good energy level, you start to do them even more, your previous patterns of reactions change.
Yeah.
Because when a person is calm, like if something is happening and I'm calm, I can, you know, really look at it in an objective view, and really understand what can I do in that situation. But if I'm engrossed with different emotions about this situation, or some emotions that are overwhelming me about this or that, or I'm like, you know, invested in it, then that's going to be a difficult situation, because in that moment I am inside of it rather than being outside. Being inside of it, yeah. So being inside of it, I would say, a person would be pulled by the events that are happening in their lives. When you're outside of it, you can view the event, and at the same time you can choose the reaction that is more suitable, that are more subtle for you in that situation.
And Fatima, that comes from strength, um, strength in the body as well as strength of the mind, right? And uh, the next question would be how to cultivate that strength, right? Because in order to get to flip, like you say, that reaction or that situation, or to flip the pattern of the limiting beliefs, you need strength. And strength can come in several forms. The first form would be strength of your digestive system, right? Because your core is important, and to strengthen the core, one, we have to have a very good digestive system. So pooping and, you know, digesting, absorbing nutrients and all of that. So that's very important. Secondly, physical strength in your abdominal muscles, right? So actually having a good core, because that will also improve your posture. And by improving your posture, you improve your confidence. So when you walk into that room with you know, an open chest, you are walking with a presence, right? Instead of walking like slouched. So that's number two, improving the physical strength of your abdominal muscles. And number three, of course, the third chakra, the solar plexus, that's where our self-esteem is. That's where strength is. This is, you know, where we emanate with that radiance and presence to work on the third chakra. And, you know, you can do that through yoga, you can do that through meditation, and you can do that through upgrading the brain, and, you know, and just building that strength. So I believe I even created now a 4-week Kundalini yoga course to awaken that strength, because I really think that any issue that we get hit with, if we have enough strength from every angle, body, mind, core, digestion, whatever, you'll be okay. You'll survive. You'll go through it.
Yes, and not only survive, you're going to be thriving, right? Because now
Yeah,
you have another energy that is bursting through you and like helping you and others around you. Because I know this for sure. One person who has high energy and positive can affect more than anyone who is lower in energy can affect the others. And it's yes, sometimes events outside of us affect us. At the same time, knowing that within this strength that I have, and the strength is not only coming from me, it comes from, you know, the divine creator of this world, and the one that we take most our energy from, most our you know, our strength and all these things. Then this way we know that we're not alone. We know that, you know, we have faith that no matter what happens, I can help myself, because you know what, my body is helping me out and I'm helping others. And I know that sometimes when my body is telling me something, when a symptom arise, I cannot just ignore it and, you know, just treat the symptom. There is a cause that is coming behind the symptom. So
yeah,
that's one thing I noticed, that before I would just, you know, when I feel a certain thing, I wouldn't know how to describe it. I would just go and take something like to just, you know, remove the symptom. But now, thankfully, alhamdulillah, like I don't take any medication. I just take supplements and vitamins. And I realize that if I feel anything that is not normal, I would go and see what is the main cause behind that. We cannot
yeah,
just, you know, tell the emotions to just go and don't show up. They're showing up for a reason. The quality of my thoughts perhaps are not helping me right now. It's a sign. My body's telling me we don't like this, change that. Our organs are speaking to us, right? And Coach Nigora, you mentioned that our organs can store emotions in the organ tissue.
yes, yeah. And and it's not even just emotions, it's specific conflict themes. So let's, for example, let's take eczema, right? A rash on the epidermis, right? The top layer of the skin. You've got epidermis, you've got dermis. So the epidermis where eczema happens. And a lot of young kids experience that. Why? Because the epidermis layer of the skin is responsible for loss of touch. So when the mom goes to work, or when the mom leaves the kid with the nanny or at school or whatever, the kid experiences loss of touch from his mom, right? Sub- Subconsciously, this is what the skin is reacting. Like they want the feel of that mom's smell, the touch. So this is how the epidermis reacts. There's also you know, cysts in ovaries, right? So how do ovaries react? What conflict theme is there? And that's also a loss. You know, I once had a client who came to me and said, yeah, I have my left ovary removed because I had cancer there. And that for me was like, okay, did you have a loss, like, before? She said, yeah, I had a baby and I had a car accident and the baby died as well as my fiance. So that's a pretty big loss. So the left ovary and the left side of the body is also to do with mother-child sort of element, right? So it was her left ovary that was to do with her child. So everything is interconnected. And when someone comes to me with a symptom, yes, I will first deal with the diet and all of that, and then we go deep in what emotion is stuck there now, and we need to resolve it, right? Because you, on a conscious level, you might have forgotten this event, or you might have forgiven that person, but your organ hasn't. The emotion is still stuck, and we need to help that organ to let it out. And we do that through emotional freedom tapping technique, right? We do that through various meditations, journaling sessions, and building the belief system, the value system, a lot of stuff, like upgrading the brain, right, to what it needs to be now at this age, at this phase. So it's a lot of tools, but the point is that it's not out of the blue that an organ has a symptom. As you said, it's not out of the blue. There's a reason, and if it's reoccurring, if it's a chronic, migraines, headaches, there's also a reason.
Yes, and what's funny, that some people are adapting to this and they've become super normal with this symptom that is showing up in their life. When
Yeah.
in fact there is the solution for everything. That when they really look into it, when they know better, they do better. And not only that, understanding that our belief system, there are two different types of beliefs, right? The beliefs that are helping us and the beliefs that are not helping us. And those are the limiting beliefs that we mentioned. And understanding really, how is this serving me right now? And if it's not serving me, what can I exchange it for? Can I change it? Can I remove it? Can I really burn it? Because I've done this exercise of, writing down my limiting beliefs and then
And
just having
burning.
yeah, a burning ceremony about it. And that felt freeing for me. That's one of the ways I did. I really understood what are my limiting beliefs, and this is how I'm able to do the things I really like now, the things I'm passionate about. And at certain days, that where I would feel a bit something isn't balanced here, I would check in with myself. I would really talk to myself, really understand what is happening. And as you rightly mentioned, that sometimes people are not talking to themselves in a kind way, in a best way. So really understanding what is the narrative happening here. Is this helping me? Is this serving me? Until when do I want to continue at this rate? Do I want to change my life? What do I want to change exactly? So really understanding these kind of things, questioning, sitting down with yourself, not only just learning about it. See, my intention here is not only to give out this knowledge, is to actually tell you guys you can start today. Nothing is stopping you except the excuses, perhaps. And when you realize that you can actually live a life that you want, that you are dreaming about, not only dreaming, that you're actually experiencing, it is possible 100% when you sit down with yourself and actually notice the conversation, notice the language, notice the different things that are showing up in your life,
Yeah.
your relationships, how is the quality of your relationships, and the food. The food is one of the major things that can help you or can hinder you. And when I realized this, like for example, when I first got introduced to drinking coffee, I used to drink it with milk, and I didn't know that I was intolerant to milk. And then I wasn't really happy with, say, my stomach and all these things. But then I realized that I cannot drink milk, because growing up we didn't really have any milk at home. My mom is intolerant to it, so we didn't drink milk as growing up. But then when I drank coffee with milk, that didn't help me. So then I decided to go with black coffee. But now, thankfully, with all the different types of milks, oat milk, almond, soy
Now you
milk,
have
all
no coffee at all.
exactly. Now this
So
is my challenge. Yeah.
if I can add to the point that you were saying, that it is possible, you should always strive for happiness. You should always aim for happiness. You should always aim for joy. Mediocre is not good. Just being like, oh, it's okay, life is fine, it's fine. No, this is not good enough. We get this lifetime, we experience it, and we should strive for happiness, and whatever way or form you want to achieve that. But and my dad actually taught me that we should never settle for less. We should always strive to be happy.
That's
and and
excellent. Yeah.
and yeah, and adopting all those tools that you've mentioned, the diet, all of that is important. But it's very overwhelming to just say that, oh, just go ahead and, do it. So that's why we have coaches, right? That's why we have these amazing beings, like social workers, I call them, that working with people to improve their lifestyle. And a concept of coaching didn't even exist here in Dubai 6-7 years ago. I mean, it did exist, but it wasn't as strong as it is now, which is amazing. You can just see the development of the mental evolution in this region. They want to improve. They're questioning the, why am I not feeling good? Why am I not feeling happy? I want to feel good, better, right? So coaches are doing so well. And but the thing is, though, many people think, oh, I can do it myself, or oh, it's fine, I will do, my friends will help. No, sometimes you need a coach for that subjective point of view, as well as for that listening skill, because coaches really are trained to listen, you know, and to guide you in the direction that you want, so I don't think the we shouldn't undermine the contribution of a coach that can be in your life.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, as a coach myself, I always tell people that, first of all, when you understand the things that you want to experience, it gets easier. But if you come and you tell me, like, okay, I don't like this, I don't want this, I'm experiencing this and that, after all of this, the first thing I would ask, what would you want instead? Instead of all of these things, what would you want instead?
Yeah,
And also the listening part is definitely very important, and being from outsider, being an outsider, not really involved with the person except like the coaching way, it allows me to become more straight with them, because if it was my sister, I'm biased towards my sister.
exactly.
Yeah, so 100% I believe that, guys, there are so many different resources right now. I know some people who would read a book and change their life,
Yeah,
and but those are, there's a those are a minority of the total population. And I know some people who would sit with a friend and keep on the same story, talking about the
yeah.
same story for years, not changing them. That friend can listen, but that friend has a limitation. I mean, unless that friend is a coach.
Also, Fatma, there's one more element that you haven't mentioned, and that's the money exchange.
Yeah,
Because you pay to the coach, you take it more seriously. You take the advice more seriously. You take the guidance, and you commit to action, right? Because when you're chatting with a friend, it's like da 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 da, and it kind of just goes after the coffee chat. Um, so it's yeah. So the money part is important.
definitely. And we have a question here from one of the participants, and she is saying that she has chronic fatigue. So, what are the questions she should start to ask her inner self?
Okay. So first of all, chronic fatigue is a lot to do with lifestyle and sleep patterns, right? So that's the physical, the 50% of the equation, right? So you definitely need to look at that. And secondly, chronic fatigue is also to do with purpose. Something is not waking you up. Something is not uh, getting you excited in the morning. right? So being a little bit lost with, what am I supposed to be doing? What is my purpose here? What is my mission? What is my intention in this life? So those type of questions.
Yeah, it's good to
That,
start with these questions, and it's also good to have a coach to really understand what is
yeah,
happening, what is the,
absolutely.
yeah, what is the underlying fact for this. Because when I first experienced all these changes in myself, in my body, in my thoughts, my mind, everything, i have I had coaches since I was in university, and that
Yeah,
was more than 5 years ago. So 5 years ago I had a life coach, and then I had a health coach as well. And now understanding these different things, but it was a very basic level. Yani, I was only, writing down my goals, my weekly journal, what am I going to do on the week. I was organizing my life that way. And with the health coaching part, I just understood what food are good for me and what are perhaps not good for me at that stage and time. But then as the years developed and I became a different version of myself, I chose to become this version right now. And I learned different things with, you when you become a different version of yourself, you experience different things. And that is one of the reasons why I reached out to Coach Nigora about the health aspect and how I can help myself with, enhancing the quality of my sleep, enhancing the quality of the food I'm taking, changing my habitual patterns of, drinking coffee every morning to
yeah,
green juice every morning. And I've been having green juice for the past 2 days, and alhamdulillah, I feel amazing. So these are really good changes, minor changes in my life, and they're affecting the quality of the day, the quality of my thoughts. Because whether you agree with it or not, so many things are affecting your mind, including the food that you take, the movies that you watch, the music that you listen to. And yeah, I mean, you guys can start with questioning. You can start with reaching out to coaches, and you can find Coach Nagora on Instagram as well, and you can find my account as well there. So I'm gonna be posting everything when we finish this. But thank you guys so much for your participating. And Coach Nagora, if you have any final comments, any final things that you want to leave our participants with, and perhaps the people who are watching the videos after, please do so.
I guess the biggest advice that I can give is the, I mean, the summary of our entire conversation. One, fix your, respect your body, respect your body and eat for nutrition. So nourishing the body, not just eating for leisure all the time or eating just because the food is there. Respect your body. Don't trap it in a corner, right? And then number two would be to just to constantly build strength within the body and the mind. Strength is everything. That's the only constant thing you can have in life, because life is so uncertain, it's so inconsistent. We don't know what will be tomorrow. But when you have your strength, you will deal with it better than when you are weak.
100%. I echo your comments, Coach Nigora, and thank you so much for being with us here today. You guys learned about the illusions of limiting beliefs, and you know now what to focus on, what to take out from this, and how you can help yourselves. First of all, respect your body, respect your mind, really question your thoughts all the time, question all the thoughts that you have, and start to adopt thoughts that can help you live a life that you are proud of. And you can do that for sure, 100%. And not only that, notice the food that you are taking, the things that you're listening to, the things that you're watching. All of these things come into one thing. And I would love to thank you guys so much for coming here today. Thank you, Coach Nagora. I really appreciate it. I'm
Thank
super grateful
you.
to have you, and this has been wonderful. Thank you guys, and I look forward to seeing you inshallah next Saturday. Thank you.